Greetings, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the Sickcast, aka the Siblings in Cardboard podcast. I'm your host, Thomas, and I've got my fellow warrior and ninja with me, Noah and Donnie. And whether you're a veteran card gamer or you're just getting into card games, remember we're all siblings in cardboard, and we're just here to have fun. Guys, speaking of having fun, what did you do this past weekend?
Yesterday, I always think it's yesterday. I think it's yesterday because we usually record on Wednesdays. Tuesday night, I went to the armory and I played Vincent again instead of my regular Katsu because that's my alternate love is Vincent, and did not go well for me as usual. I shared a meme not too long ago on Twitter that says I am a machine that turns armory events into 3 XP, and that's been me consistently week after week after week. Just getting that 3 XP every week, just not losing in the last round so I don't get that 0-3 and get the pity pack from prizing, but it was not a good night for the Runeblade again.
And
what about you, Noah?
Some of the card guys, sorry to interrupt, some of the card guys talk about the way you beat a Vincent is you just present a deck.
Yeah, you present a flesh and blood deck and you win.
It's because it's Vincent, I think, needs some more pieces and some more labbing because she just has that problem of every hand is a great blocking hand against that because the way the damage is mixed and the way a lot of she hits exactly 6 on a lot.
Yeah, 6, 9, 12, and then the rune chance. It's, I don't know. The deck still needs to be figured out. It's a work in progress.
There's definitely room for improvement with Vincent. I mean, she's not perfect, but she's gonna get there.
I think she's good.
I had similar results again. I mean, I'm with you. I think you had the same sort of last week armory kind of when we talked about it on Wednesday. I went 1 and 2. I went 1 and 2 again. I mean, they weren't my fault games per se. I mean, I'm sure there's always decisions you could make differently, but I mean, I was feeling kind of ill at the time. I mean, I'm not gonna say it really affected it, but I wasn't super focused on the game. The third game though, it felt great. Weirdly enough, it was a Dromai again, and I've loosed this person all the time in Armory, and it was just high roll central. I've never mopped up a Dromai. It was brutal. If there was a chance I had it in every which way on Dory. There was not an out. You know what I mean? There was singing into route, into over, whatever I wanted. Sky was the limit. Every time. So it felt good. I mean, what am I going to say? You get one in, 3 XP.
I was a 2-1 hero this past week, so I think I had almost the flip of my previous classic constructed armory, where I faced Lexi in the last round. I faced Brandon on Lexi in the first. It came down to a 1-1, and I just couldn't pressure him off of one more card, and he was able to come through with a 4 arrow into a 4 arrow into just anything else, and I died. It was 1-1. We were both out of gear. We were both basically out of cards, and I needed to survive and make him dump his entire hand over and over again. Because if I ever gave him any leeway, he was gonna drop that 3 of a kind or play that Codex of Frailty and finish me off. And then we played Commoner on Friday because we're trying to do more accessible formats on our Friday armories. And I played Icelander, which was a ball because I've never had the opportunity to play Icelander. I loved it so much. I even played a couple games for fun on Sunday while we were waiting for the Classic Constructor Armory.
Nice.
Went 2-1 on that. That Icelander Commoner is really fun. And the Commoner's an interesting format because some cards that are banned are not banned. Even though you can't use anything above commons, some of those banned commons are really strong.
Yeah, Stubby Hammer's good card.
Yeah, and I lost to a chain. So.
Well, yeah.
Chains.
Yeah, Seb is really good. We are 1 day late. That's my fault. Went to a concert last night, which was great, but I'm gonna try to keep the energy up today. I am lagging so bad.
It happens. But yeah, what was the concert you went to?
Avenged Sevenfold. It was amazing.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was so good. If I've got you on Facebook, Donnie, you can go check out a couple clips I took of it.
Okay.
It was awesome. Someone printed out a whole bunch of paper hearts, so when he did the "We Love You" song, everyone held up a paper heart in front of their phone for him, and you got to see like an emotional reaction from him. It was really cool.
That's
And then
awesome.
the other acts were Kim Dracula and Falling in Reverse. Falling in Reverse was hilarious. They were a lot.
Okay.
Go see live music. It's great. Be safe.
It's
but
always fun.
go see live music. Okay, so let's knock out our market minute really quickly. We have a notable spoiler with our market minute today.
Yeah, we do. Obviously, well, not obviously, but the obvious one should be that Construct Nitromechanoid has taken some huge interest since the release of Mr. Max Nitro. It's gonna probably have a pretty high spike on its initial sort of like hype, and then obviously I feel that a top tier meta deck is going to have to be produced in order for it to have like another spike to where it's, you know, in that contention. Whether or not we're going to see that after the initial hype, I don't know. I think it's totally worth exploring. I think we'll get into that later when we talk about some of the meta speculations. I feel like this set is actually poised to be some of the best heroes of tomorrow, just from how I think they're trying to cycle things out. We can talk, but I think this is, you know,
Max Nitro just gets to make hyperdrivers, which we'll talk about, but he makes it so consistent.
I know you got a lot to say. You got a lot to say, Thomas. I know you're making.
Yeah, we'll get to Max Nitro. He's got a lot of openings. He's good.
The one crazy broken thing though they thought with the 3 action points you can't do, but we'll get to that. But everything else is superb. But yes, Construct Nitromechanoid in all forms has gone up, especially the Rainbow Foil, since it's going to be the most accessible. It's up to about $33 right now. It's probably going to hit above 40. I would highly recommend, if you're having any type of interest in playing this and you're thinking you've got to get it now, especially in Rainbow Foil. Maybe splurge, get the cold foil. It's
or
already
wait for the hype to die.
I mean, you could do that as well, but if the deck becomes stronger meta and you're only delaying it, personally, I feel like it's an okay time to at least grab a couple of them. The cold foils are still around 45. They haven't got up to like the solid 50 mark yet. And then there's some marvels too. But
the one thing I would maybe consider is that it could get reprinted, because it's such a card that resonates with the new heroes that it might be reprinted. So of course it won't get reprinted in cold foil or Marvel.
Yeah,
probably not even foil. It'll just be flat. But
there's a chance. I think that they want to kind of keep Dynasty a real Dynasty. You don't hear anybody talk about personally. You don't say. I mean, other than me.
Expansion.
Yeah.
But I feel like it keeps the pack sort of relevant and fun, having things that come out of it. I don't know. I don't necessarily think you have to run around and reprint every card. It's not that crazy expensive, but if it does really spike though and it starts to hamper it, I can totally see that. The other card that was spoiled, it's mech related, was we saw the scrimmage season, what it looked like, the cold foil, and it was Techlocore. So there is pretty heavy speculation and probably proof that there will be a cold foil Techlocore, which means if you have first edition Rainbow Foil Techlocores, or if you're sitting on a bunch of them, there's likelihood that they could go down. The people are probably going to dump them just because of the suspicion that the cold foil is going to drive it up. Don't know how obtainable they're going to be. If there's only a limited number, then the cold foil is just going to be really expensive, and it is what it is. But I would definitely see that your normal first editions and stuff taking a slight hit with this rarity bump, and especially some of those rainbow foils. There's just no way around it. People want cold foils. I love cold foils.
And Techlocore will look fantastic.
It will look amazing. They're going to give it the prism treatment maybe slowly, right? Like where your items are now cold foil, because here they have the whole mech set. So think about it, right? Come on. I mean, it's only time before we see some, some crazy
unless they
stuff.
print a new gun, some of those items aren't going to be great anymore.
The Fable's mech related too. Let's be real. The Fable's going to be a mech related, and it's going to be amazing, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, they're going to have to print a new gun. Some kind of pistol, because the Tecloplasma pistol is Dash's signature weapon.
Mhm.
And she's over 600 points on the Living Legend board, so she's not that far away from Living Legend, and when she goes, she takes her gun with her.
With a couple powered up cards from this new set, she could just almost instantly Living Legend.
Yeah, that's just a couple of big
We'll
events.
talk about it. A lot of people are speculating that the best hero is probably going to be the older one. Just due to how it works.
Of getting Living Legend points. Speaking of getting Living Legend points, we had a ban and suspension announcement where the most interesting news of the announcement wasn't even the ban and suspensions.
Because there wasn't any bans and suspensions. Nothing changed.
Actually. Yeah.
So
I guess technically, yes, there was a suspension.
Transitioned a ban to a suspension. So Bullseye Bracers, as everyone predicted, I think everyone knew it was going to come back once Lexi. It's just not. It's a really high value card, right? Exceedingly high value. It's just that Voltaire kind of just makes it a little nutty. So
crazy.
Yeah. But I think Riptide really needs it. I think Azalea. Sure. I think Hornet Sting on Azalea is also fantastic because it gives you another way to know what you're going to try to dominate. But yeah, that's the only change as far as bans and suspensions. Was Bullseye Bracers will come back the second Lexi hits Living Legend, which will probably be during ProQuest season because there will be another ban and suspension announcement just before Worlds, 11 days before Worlds. It was discussed pretty heavily, kind of how that's going to affect the meta, where I think the biggest impact that next ban and suspension announcement is going to possibly have is, will Icelander hit Living Legend?
That is the real question. I mean, we've got a couple of callings coming up between now and then, so it is within the realm of possibility that Icelander can get those points, but the way she performed at Nats, if she doesn't take one of the callings, we're going to have Icelander at Worlds. And then there's a good chance that she wins Worlds because she doesn't have to deal with Lexi.
You have a whole bunch of Kanos rubbing their hands together, hoping that Icelander LLs so that they can try to sneak in when people don't bring Arcane Barrier anymore.
Yeah, Kanos of the world rejoice, I guess. I mean, one less wizard for everybody to think about.
Yep. But, I mean, it is a straight buff for the only wizard to be Kano.
Yeah. But yeah, this whole week has been nothing but everybody talking about the lack of changes on the BNS and people moaning, groaning, griping, and complaining that we're going to have to deal with Lexi all the way through PQ season. Personally, I am okay with letting Lexi just have her last hurrah through the season and just dealing with her for a few more weeks, because that's what it is. It's going to be a few more weeks, not a few more months. We've got at most like 6 weeks of this left.
Let the Living Legend system do its thing.
6 or 7 weeks, less than 2 months.
Like, if she was at like 800 points, that's when they maybe consider say, hey, okay, let's tweak her down so that she isn't 35% of the entrants in the Worlds and half of the top 8 in a World. But she's not going to make it a World. And ProQuest season, yeah, it might be you might be tired of Lexi, right? Maybe you're a whole scene, you've got like 3 or 4 Lexis that are just ripping it apart. And the suggestion there was let the Living Legend do its thing, maybe take a break and let the meta shift and the Tales of Arya.
I don't know about taking a break. There's too much going on in Flesh and Blood right now to be taking a break from it. I mean, we've got hype all over the place right now.
I don't like taking a break. I'll just play and lose.
Yeah, same here. I mean, the one classic constructed PQ that we've got here in Georgia is going to be attended by probably all of the card guys and several other players that were Pro Tour qualified.
Atlanta
already.
Is brutal.
Yeah, it's a brutal place to try and qualify.
I'm playing Katsu most likely at this PQ. I am not going to win.
Hey.
But
I'll be on Phi.
It's going to be fun.
I roll.
No, you're not. You're not going to play Phi.
I'll be on Phi.
Sure.
So
I'll believe that when I see it, buddy.
The next notable thing in the ban and suspensions announcements that's also related to Living Legend is the expansion of the Living Legend point awards throughout the different seasons. So almost all of the minor events, I think, doubled in the amount of points they award. This will see. The good thing is you'll have less of these times where heroes like just slide around in the mid to high 900s for several seasons just because they don't win any major events. But you'll also see the downside that it's maybe possible to start having heroes that never win a major event but still living legend.
Yeah, it was basically doubled all the way across the boards. You've got 4 points for RTNs, 4 points for ProQuests, 2 points for skirmishes now. But skirmishes were 2 points before, right? And then they changed it last skirmish season to only do 1 point per win. Is that right?
I thought it was 2, and so that was weird when they said it doubled and it was 2, because maybe there's a typo somewhere.
No, because I'm pretty sure the skirmishes were 2 points each back when, Icelander and Oldham were dominating everything. But then I think it changed. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
I think the skirmish meta is so healthy right now that I don't really
Blitz
care.
Is good. Blitz is in a good place.
Blitz is a pretty healthy meta. Chain's quite a nightmare. Some of your Kanos, but I mean,
Prism's tough. I mean, and then Kano's tough. But the thing is, it's like no one gets a free win because you can't disrespect. There's 3 decks that are in there that if you disrespect any one of them, they're probably going to roll you over. But then you have things like Kasai. Kasai is super strong. So you at least have 4 decks. Those are 4 decks that I would say are like basically tier 0. And then Dash is still good too. Like,
I mean, yeah, for sure. And Dash is just getting more and more value as we get closer and closer to Bright Lights.
Yeah. She's going to be a powerhouse.
I mean, she's already decent in Blitz, right?
She's already quite good in Blitz in terms of how fast she plays. I mean, she swings hard. Some of those turns are brutal.
Now they've, with this like this announcement of more points, they've basically said we're more or less committing to transitioning from this 3 sets a year to 4 sets a year, and there's going to be so many more heroes that we want to accelerate that living legend status to make sure that the hero pool doesn't get too wide. I think this is good, but it also is bad because it just makes me think that literally Arachne's going to sit down at the bottom with a 0 points for literally for like.
Not necessarily. They did say that Arachne's going to have his time to shine.
Absolutely. Every hero's going to get their time.
When everyone's running, when all the Dromais are running around with a crown on.
But Dromai is going to get better and pick up more points.
Regicide.
I think the living legend systems is actually pretty nice. I enjoy the points being increased. I actually think it's totally fine. I even think that the no touching of Lexi, just to go back to that for a second and talk about that, was totally fine too. There's no winners there because the hero got so many points so fast that if you actually enjoyed the deck, you have such a short lifespan on it. And I feel like they have a really good idea. Well, I mean,
Outsiders.
If you
so it's from Outsiders to now. Essentially,
right.
The Lexi deck.
She gained a majority of her points in that amount of time, and so she's about to be gone. So if you like found love with it, and you're like, this is amazing. Well, I mean, you got to feel for those players too. I mean, the deck is strong. I don't think it's super unfair strong, but I feel like they have a path and a sort of a destiny for each hero. And Voltaire needs to go.
It does.
And so there's no reason for her to stick around. I get it. It's just one of those. Later on, when they bring out a hero and they're climbing up the points, hopefully they can, they'll correct it. But for right now, there's just no point. There's no point to touch her. Just
it's the only weapon in the game that gives 2 action points for 2 resources per turn.
She is technically beatable. I mean, you see it all the time. People don't want to admit that, but she is totally beatable. I'm not saying by super hard fatigue strats. She is a beatable deck.
Well, it was a fatigue strat that took her out in Nats.
It is true,
US
but I feel she's a beatable deck. 2 weeks, like you said, Donnie. It's really not that bad. And with all the new stuff coming out, the crack shuffle play in the UPF. I mean, just there's got to be other stuff for you to do and think about the new mech cards and build and
also Dash already had a decent matchup into Lexi after because it equalized the aggro matchup between Dash and Lexi by her losing the Bullseye Bracers, but it also completely took out a piece of gear that she could indefinitely block. to take in the T-Bones and the Meganetics with. So it's now like if you're playing Lexi and you break those Snapdragons, you're going to lose New. Dash is going to eat your New Horizons right ahead because you're running. Your only other two things are both Blade Break. So it's just like she doesn't even have to like save a hand. It's literally T-Bone number one, one's gone. T-Bone number two, the other's gone. So losing Bullseye's bracers as Lexi basically said that each T-Bone I draw takes a critical piece of gear from you and you don't get a choice. You don't get any interaction. So I already think that the Mechanologist had a good setup into her. And it would be funny if this new set comes out and Mechanologist just absolutely dumpsters Lexi out of ProQuest. And she actually doesn't Living Legend. That would just be the wildest thing, right?
That's the reason why they doubled the points, is to make sure that doesn't happen.
There's no way it doesn't happen, but like Mechanologist, like I said, is already in a good position to completely tear Lexi apart.
Mechanologist is poised to be some of the strongest heroes after Ice goes and in all forms. I'm telling you, they are going to be great. Yeah, I think all three decks will hopefully have a place, and Old Dash will probably start to become a monster.
I think this is a great segue into spoilers. Spoiler season continues.
Oh man, we've had some great ones.
Right. We got two new heroes spoiled. Max Frosty kind of teased us with our file 1 of 2. We think file number 2 will be -IO, which
gotta be.
I don't know if they're debating us because they did this with Prism and then it ended up Adult Prism was the same. -IO is gonna be the same, probably. But why bait us like this?
Probably because they wanted to give everybody time to process the young hero's impact on Blitz, maybe, or kind of just get excited for the hero ability, because it's most likely going to be the same as the adult version, right? That's what we're thinking.
I mean, it would feel foolish, I think, to put out something that would be another kind of boost. You know what I mean? While you already have the original, I think. Dash be Dash, right? I mean, I think Dash database is
Dash Vanilla.
Than Dash.
Dash Vanilla is Gun Dash. Yeah, she can go boost because she was literally the only Mechanologist hero in Classic Constructed. So who else was going to hero?
Yeah.
So just for the audience, Dash.io maybe, but Dash database definitely is a young hero with 18 life. So she does have that reduced life. Her hero power is you may look at the top card of your deck at any time. That's not play with top card of the deck reveal. You actually get to look at it and your opponent doesn't get to know it either. Once per turn, you may play a Mechanologist item with a cost of 0 or 1 from the top of your deck as though it were an instant. It costs an additional play. So if you just think of a couple things right off the bat, that means Hyperdrivers can be played at instant speed. That means Techlocore can be played at instant speed. There's a couple other 1 costs that aren't played very often that can be played at instant speed. Hilariously, if OTK Viz or Vincent comes in with a million rune chants, you could drop that shield down at instant speed that would literally just eat every single rune chant for free. I'm pretty sure that one's a 1 cost, right?
I don't know.
I'll have to double check.
That's crazy. Notably, though, you cannot get Techlo Pounder with this, right?
Nope, can't get Techlo Pounder. You can't get any of the gun items either. So, those
is not going to be a pistol dash.
Yeah, I mean that's I think
unless it's some weird hybrid, but I think they really said we don't need to buff pistol dash that much. She is already winning tournaments. She's already slowly working herself up to Living Legend.
Yep.
She doesn't really need a lot. Maybe a card or here or two just to keep those people happy and maybe help push her along Living Legend. But I think when they created this new dash, they're like, this is a different dash. She's going to be a different archetype and she's not even going to use those items.
What were you saying, Noah?
I was just gonna say, Bright Lights is gonna have those cards for the gun dash. I was saying that I think Thomas is right in that the original dash will probably just fully form into that gun package, and have the new support and be able to literally hold and then outvalue all the decks, especially if Lexi is eventually going to be gone. I don't feel like Icelander is that much of a disruptive matchup for gun dash.
Icelander is literally the disruptive matchup. I mean, that's all she does is disrupt.
Dash has already got excellent
matchup.
matchup into Icelander because Dash is usually just Haymaker for 6. If you don't tax me, I'm going to pew pew a couple times and keep a full hand of blues and AB out everything.
I was gonna say, like, Dash doesn't have a problem pitching to AB and it plays defensive enough at enough. I feel like you'd have to really sequence your turns out well, or be like a Bullander and take some offensive approach against the Dash.
I have to do a correction. Dissolution Sphere does cost 2. You can't instant speed block a million Rin chance with it.
They thought about it ahead of time.
Yeah, can you imagine how gross it would be if you could get 2 cost items off the top of your deck?
Oh man!
Instant speed Teklo Pounder. Oh my goodness!
Just instant speed gun items, because usually to produce a gun item, you're I think trading like 6 points of value, sometimes more. But if you could just do it at instant speed, and they cost 2, so you just pitch a blue to play it at instant speed, and then you never accidentally boost them. You always know they're there. So
right.
Yes.
I can't wait to see the items that come out of Bright Lights.
Some dash cards that are amazing is both specializations are fantastic with the new dash database. So Teklo Core, we already talked about, it's great. Instant speed, put it out for 1. The next 2 turns, it's going to give you 2. So good. Spark of Genius, amazing. You don't like the card that's on top? Search out a 1 or 0 cost item, and then get a new card on top to check.
Ooh.
Yeah, Spark of Genius is man, that card's already like
great in Blitz. Oh, she is going to be phenomenal in Blitz.
Some funny cards that you could probably do with Dash Database that are in the game right now. A Dynasty card is Powder Keg. Whenever a Mechanologist gun control you hits, you may destroy Powder Keg and a defending equipment. So you could play that at instant speed. No blocks. Okay, Powder Keg, kabloom. That actually could be decently strong. All these items are 0 blocked, so there's a huge deck tax for putting them in.
Wait, a defending equipment? So you'd have to be scared anytime Dash shoots off her gun at you?
Right. So literally, if you like go in with a throttle or something, and you like, okay, I want to throw a piece of equipment in front of it, and then she shoots her gun, you have to go, okay, do I throw a card at this gun or do I take the 2? If I take the 2, then maybe she'll Powder Keg. Because I'm pretty sure defending equipment includes the entire combat chain.
I'm not so sure it does. I think it only is the chain link.
It usually specifies
actively defending, right?
What does the kick do? It banishes 1 from each. It says it banishes a defending card from each chain link. So it doesn't specify this chain link. So I think defending equipment includes the whole chain.
I mean, spinning wheel kick, or no, you're talking about Cyclone Roundhouse.
Cyclone Roundhouse, yes.
Majestic.
Because that one says remove a defending card from the game from each chain link. So defending is a status. Oh, that's all rule semantics. We can move on.
We'll figure that out.
Dash Database is fantastic. I think, is she better than normal Dash? It's hard to tell. We need to see what other items that are in the 0 and 1 cost bracket.
She may or may not be better, but this art, in my opinion, is 1,000% cuter. Oh my goodness.
Real cute.
She is a doll.
Yeah, I just like this. They always draw her super happy. Like she's literally her original young. She's got those little jean shorts and she's skipping. Like, okay,
the defending card would work because Decimator Great Axe works the same way, and I know for a fact you can half a piece of equipment in a previous chain that's defended. That is part of the draw. Defending means that it's still locked in the chain. You haven't broke it yet, so it's still considered defending. Because then the combat chain resolves. It's done. It's it's done.
Okay.
It's
right. So you can Powder Keg those tempered and battle worn pieces of gear.
95%.
How would you feel if you blocked with your Courage of Bladehold and then you Powder Kegged it off?
Man, I think about Courage of Bladehold, like, I have strenuous moments about it every time I play against anything that I know can hit. I mean, it's a nightmare.
So the next hero that got revealed, I think this was by 3 Floating, was Max Nitro.
Yes.
MAXX. He's got the double X, so he's edgy. Yeah, I think he's literally holding a whiskey bottle in his hand, ready to hit someone with it. My joke was this dude plays with Beyblades and he takes it real seriously. Dude, he's great. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
He's very cyberpunk.
He is a Beyblade master.
Okay, so he is a 20 health hero, so he's got the full health total. Once per turn action, pay 2. Create a hyperdriver token with 2 steam counters. Activate this ability only if you've boosted it. This seems really strong. It makes it where you don't have to wait for the third hyperdriver for construct nitro mechanoid. You only need to get out 2 basically, and you're good to go. If you crankshaft, there's gonna be so many crank jokes. If you banish a crankshaft and get to put another steam counter back on one of them, you only need to find 1 hyperdriver. And then on top of that, I don't even know if Construct Nitro Mechanoid is going to be his best playline, because this character knocks out max velocities easy. It's like every turn past the first is a potential max V turn for max nitro because of the extra resource.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the crank thing, the hyperdrivers you control get crank, getting a action point by removing a steam counter when it comes in. Mm-hmm. This guy is just going to vomit cards every turn. This is going to be our new aggro hero going forward. I mean, it's not going to be the pistol dash, traditional dash IE. It's going to be max nitro with all the boost shenanigans.
So an interesting way I thought to think about it is that if you choose to crank that hyperdriver you bring in and get your action point back, right, you're going to lose a steam counter off of it. Essentially, you have kind of done a slightly less good seismic surge because you spent 2 resources to get 1 resource, kind of, right? Because you cranked it, right? So you lost 1 steam counter, and then next turn you'll boost and you'll get a resource from boosting. So kind of you're doing a slightly less good seismic surge, but it's the modality of it, right? You're done with your turn. You don't have any more cards. You have 2 resources left over. Drop out a hyperdriver with 2. And then when you do play red hyperdrivers, the red hyperdrivers are just gas. Play them for free. Get your action point back. And you have 2 tokens left.
This guy, I'm very excited to see in action. I can't wait to actually get my hands on him and try him out. The limited format with these 3 heroes, between Max Nitro, Dash Database, and Tekla, Crack Shuffle play looks awesome.
It does look really good. You can also see how like the idea of the Crack Shuffle play kind of works with some of these heroes. Because Max Nitro has, things he probably wants to do a little bit different, but having the extra action points allows you to play multiple items too in one turn. I mean, even the hyperdriver is considered technically an item. And I believe they've stipulated that it actually will go under the token, go under Construct Nitro. They haven't errated the rules yet, but
they have not changed the rules yet.
Successfully commented on that was the way it was going to work. And so for the, you think about it, if database.
You can't Blessing of Ingenuity and get 3 action points at the beginning of your turn.
Earlier. You cannot do that with Blessing. They already stipulated that you can't do that. But so Dash Database wants items, and can do it pretty easily. Max Nitro wants items. He can get a couple of them out with extra. So I feel like you can see how, okay, well, my cards are going to have that crossover. They might both kind of have weird item paths they're taking, but the items are going to do completely different things. If he's constructed Nitro Mechanoid and swinging at you on that, perhaps the other one is setting up some weird items, and maybe the items are dealing damage like turrets. I don't know. It's anybody's guess as to what the new items are going to be, but it seems like there's going to be some fun play styles, and I like your idea of the going wide a little bit with boosting on extra resource turns, getting that extra action point and getting that damage, and really, like you said, abusing high octane.
Yeah, this deck will definitely be good with high.
Oh yeah, it's going to be insane.
You'll always get to use all of your action points. You won't have those like ones floating over.
We don't know the weapon, right?
Can't quite use.
We still don't know the secret. It's got to be something with if you've cranked. I'm assuming the crank is going to be in there to give you the incentive to do the crank, to get the action point, to swing with the weapon, to go again on the.
It's got to be the wrench he's holding, right?
I was
Yes.
100% the wrench.
He's
100% the wrench.
Because he's Unga Bunga. This is Unga Bunga.
I want a
mechanologist.
cold foil wrench. Find me. I want it. It will exist. I need that wrench.
So if you look at the three heroes, kind of like the balance between them is Dash database has dramatically reduced variance since you get to look at the top card of your deck every time you boost. Max Nitro doesn't care. He's getting so much value by getting that. Make sure he does that one boost per turn so he can get Hyperdriver out. And then Teklevosen, you might not boost the entire game.
No, because you get to play your Evo equipment from Banish. How else are you going to get your stuff into Banish other than boosting it away?
I mean, I'm just saying you don't necessarily have to. You like a lot of those high value cards that benefit off the Evos aren't boost cards. They're big, gigantic finishers.
The ability to play from Banish is to protect him from, again, the whole crack shuffle play. How the card's going to interact with each other is when you're boosting, you're not being punished for trying to be on the offensive. You're still able to play your game plan. Again, I think it's beautiful. All three heroes so far speak differently, but you can see that, oh man, I know how this card pool is going to feel so good because there's going to be so much. Oh, I can't wait, man. Limited in this is going to be so much fun.
It's going to be a great limited format.
So, but let's not forget about just Blitz period. There's the fourth hero, which is the Professor. And he also seems potentially really strong because it drives all those 4-cost Evos down to 3.
Yeah. Yeah, Professor, I expect him to fast track his way to LL in Blitz.
Yeah,
I don't think LSS would do a collab with him and
not be strong.
Make his hero absolutely bonkers. He's gonna be good.
Yeah, he can also play his Evos from Banish, and they cost 1 less to play. So it's just like you're just boosting, and every time you hit one of those gigantic 4-cost Evos, you're like pitch a blue, get 5 defense, and that Evo Soul Headpiece, get an extra intellect.
I can't wait to see what the rest of that card says.
Eventually we'll talk too about how the whole temper rule works because there's some really awesome interactions. We want them to get more finalized, but people have already been speculating, I can do the Evo at this time and, not proc the temper, but get my full block kind of. And it's like, yeah, you supposedly can.
You know what's an interesting thing that I don't think also hasn't been ruled on yet is how Evos interact with Construct Nitro Mechanoid. Because, usually you'd get 3 hyperdrivers, you get your head, you get your 4 pieces of gear and your weapon. So that's 8. So you get 8 attacks with Construct Nitro Mechanoid. Do you get 9 attacks if you Evo'd your headpiece?
Yeah, because it's on top of the other equipment.
Do both of them remove at the same time when you remove them, or do you get to choose and only remove one of them?
I always thought you treat it as one card. That's the idea of the Evo, is that it replaces it, and you have to treat it as...
It's on top of the other one, though.
And it's
taking the place of it.
I think it changed zones, kind of.
They're probably going to have to rule on that, but from what it sounds like, because it's supposed to, you're building upon it, you're taking a basic headpiece and upgrading it. You're Evoing it. So it should be the same headpiece. So they should, by rights, be connected together. You shouldn't get 2 cards under your Nitro Mechanoid because you decided it should be considered 1 card. It really should. The token makes sense because of how Max Nitro is going to do it, but that's not.
There's so many downsides. There's so many downsides to the Construct Nitro Mechanoid plan. There's so many ways to counter it. It's giving it an extra attack, actually.
That card is amazing.
It could still only block. It could still only block 5 times
the
before it
problem
breaks.
That nobody can see, what's 1 extra, because the card hasn't been that relevant. Wait until how insane this card could be before we start talking about, can we give it extra attacks? That's how you get to Voltaire.
Smashing good times.
You just give them extra good. Yeah. What could possibly happen? Next thing you know, everybody's going, oh no, we made a mistake.
Everyone can play Smashing Good Time.
Everybody's playing.
Everybody can play Smashing Good Time, and it's not even that terrible.
Too.
Yeah,
but you're in a card game too, where if you're saying that you have to, you've got to you got to respect this, but
you don't have any gear either, other than the Mechanoid. If the Meeps comes in and your hand is empty, someone's Mechanoid is changing sides. It is it's not an item before; it's a construct. Once you play it becomes an item. So if you get hit by mischievous meeps, it doesn't.
Oh my goodness!
Its cost is
no
nil.
wonder Meeps was so good.
Its cost is nil.
Benji's gonna be great in Blitz.
Oh, it construct nitromechanoids, I think. But you're right.
Just with the new mechanologist heroes, yeah. Benji's gonna be great with access to
Everybody's gonna play Benji, and I won't be the only Benji throwing around Meeps. Benji's already got a fun scene in Blitz because she still has the Spring Tidings OTK, which is still totally relevant. Cool. So,
all right, we've got a couple more expansion slot cards that we got too. I think these are kind of not nearly as impressive as like Tome of Imperial Flame, but still interesting nonetheless.
There's some cool stuff.
The first one is it seems like we're getting these Runeblade cards, and you could tell LSS is really scared of accidentally making Runeblade this indomitable monster that's broken for forever, because they keep making them specializations. So if they do make a mistake, at least he LLs out and takes it with them. Sonata Phantasmia is a blue block 3 double X cost and is a Viserai specialization. No Vinset here. You create X rune check tokens. If X is 6 or greater, target hero discards 3 random cards. This would actually be kind of disgusting, wouldn't it?
If they gave Vincent this, I'd be playing Vincent next week.
I don't know exactly how you would play it, because you need to pitch.
Put it in Arsenal.
You need to pitch 12. You need to pitch 12.
Oh man, how do you play it? Never mind.
Epots, I don't know.
That's too much.
Yeah, and what was the other Viserai specialization from Dusk Till Dawn? Beseech the something. Beseech the Arknight? I don't remember. It's the one that makes something cheaper, right? Does it
Become the Arknight is his original run from Arcane Rising.
No, not that one.
You're talking Bequest of Aspion. Right?
Bequest of Aspion.
The next Runeblade attack action card you play this turn costs 1 resource less to play for each rune chant you control.
Okay, so no, that's got nothing to do with this then. Maybe this is just a Living Legend format card to pair with Scalata, Bloodchief Scalata.
That is what I was thinking as well.
Dude, that is such a broken turn. It is already crazy. Like, now you could either hit the Sonata, gigantic Sonata, or you could hit this gigantic Sonata. So now you just have even more cards to hit. You don't immediately go into Scaletta. I think Viserai is a cool hero. Like, it's cool they keep giving him specializations, but it's also like he got an entire Fable to himself, and he has 4 specializations.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they're pushing him towards the old OTK variant without actually giving him Bloodchief back. But I don't know. I don't know how good this card is actually going to be. It's a hard one to evaluate.
12 is a lot of pitch.
It's not. Yeah. It's not for now. I think this is down the road. Again, I think they're giving Viserai this card into the pool, kind of seeing if it ripples at all, and then they're going to adjust from there. Because I think they have to be careful about how many. Eventually, if you want them to LL, that's fine. But I think you have to be careful how many tools you give any hero, right? Before. Yeah. So I think they're just keep like, well, if he has more of this, I feel like there will definitely be some way to use this. It's just going to be really hard. But if you do get this off, it's debilitating.
I think it's fair, right? Viserai is going to take a ton of damage to play this. He's got to keep a full grip.
He's going to take a ton of damage to usually do what he wants to do sometimes anyway.
So the fact that he spends his entire hand to make 6 rune chants and make you discard 3 cards, if you look at the EV, it's 6 plus 9, right? 15. That's not even insane for a full grip.
You're giving up 12 for 15? That's
no. They got to attack with their entire hand, and you blocked none of it.
Right.
So the way you have to get this card to go off is you kind of have to somehow make them stumble, or you need to give up gear.
Yeah.
To play it.
I was gonna say, block with your equipment, which Viserai actually has a pretty decent fridge now. I mean, he's got 2 block on everything but the boots, and the boots are just for action points. But I don't even know if I don't know enough about that old deck because I wasn't playing back in that era. Whether or not that version of Viserai would use Spellbound Creepers these days, or if he would try to find some other way to get 2-block out of his boots.
I just played an OTK Viz, and he was running Spellbound Creepers, but it's also a Talishar thing, so you never know.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt.
All right, the next card, I think this one had no fanfare. The couple of Wizard players I saw did not think this card was very impressive. And that's Contest the Minefield. Blue pitch, only blocks 2. Cost 2 to play. All heroes get -1 intellect at the start of your turn. Destroy this. So this feels like you're playing a card to take exactly 1 card from your opponent, unless you're playing a multiplayer form. And then everyone hates you.
Okay, but what about this card in Icelander, playing it on your opponent's turn?
It doesn't give them it's not ice, so it doesn't give them a frostbite. But it's not awful, but couldn't you just play Winter's Bite?
It gives them a -1 intellect at the end of their turn, and then you play your Frostbite next turn and force them down to even less cards. I mean, if you are saving this for your pop-off turn towards the end of the game, this card is backbreaking. I don't know why people aren't higher on it. It is actually really good in Icelander.
It's a Winter's Bite for next turn. I don't
care about it, but
it's a Winter's Bite for next turn.
It's stockpiling disruption, yes. It is saving disruption for a future turn.
I think it's a good card. I don't. It's not useless by any means, right? I just don't.
Oh no.
But Icelander isn't the target. Also, Icelander isn't the target hero for this card. She's not far away from Living Legend. This is clearly supposed to be targeting some future wizard they're going to print, or it's targeting Kano.
What I was going to say is I think that there's going to be future wizards where maybe like Ice was a little weird and they don't know how to really balance it with maybe like a slowing mechanic, and so maybe some kind of arcane magic, or I don't, I guess we have Viserai, but I'm slowing time, or who knows, some kind of weird interactions of cards. And
if you're playing Kano and you pay 3 to flip a card on your turn, that feels kind of not great.
Yeah.
I know you usually just try to do it, and I guess if this was in your deck, you'd always do it on pay up 3 on your opponent's turn. And if you're like, God, I just need to do literally any arcane damage with this flip, like literally anything, like you've built up, you've got like +8, and you flip this, you're just like, okay, I just lost. This doesn't do arcane. So,
yeah, it's definitely a whiff in Kano.
I mean, it also blocks for 2 and it costs 2.
Yeah.
I mean, so
the stat line's not great.
There are obvious drawbacks, which I think why people aren't on it. I think people, costs 2. It's not a block 3, right? Right now, again, I don't think it's hard to see the bigger picture. I don't think it's completely unplayable in Icelander. You'll probably see some people throw it around, tech it, feel it out.
I mean, you play it at instant speed on your opponent's turn with Icelander. At the end of their turn, they have 3 cards. Your turn, you present Wounded Bull, and either they're going to take a bunch of damage, or they're going to give you 2 cards and go into their turn with 1 card left. I mean, if you have any other disruption to play on their turn, they have nothing else that they can do.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. It actually, I mean, again, going into Icelander with a 4-card hand sometimes is awful. Imagine going into it with a 3-card hand that you physically couldn't stop, and they get no real downside other than that's the card they played from Arsenal, and they didn't, like you said, they didn't generate the Frostbite. They still get to Waning Moon you. They still, they
get to Waning Moon you if you have a Tunic counter.
Tunic counter up, yeah.
Because it doesn't fit the natural curve of Waning Moon, which is a 2 cost. Because it's a 2 cost. That's why like the most natural setups for Icelander is a 1 cost or a 0 cost, so that they can easily Waning Moon off of. So these 2 cost ones, you have to cycle them with Tunic, which isn't terrible, because I think that's the only thing you really use Tunic on in Icelander anyway, is playing your 2 cost spells.
I think it's a good pivot. I think it's a good. Your opponent has an off turn, or I think it's fine.
Well, I could definitely see you combine this with like Storm Striders and stuff all in 1 turn. You've stripped a card from them the turn before with this, then you strip another card from them somehow, and they're down to nothing. And if they even try to throw an attack, they literally have nothing. And you go, okay, take 5, take 3. Take 5. Bye.
I mean, yeah, that's a case in point as well. Giving them a 3-card hand when you're going to kill them, as well. they present their lethal and you kill them because they only have one. I think you're right, Donnie. I think people are selling this out a little too fast for some of its shortfalls or pitfalls.
I'm sure people play test it. The Kano play testers are obsessive. And so it'll get play tested in Kano.
Absolutely. I think people are going to throw the card around, obviously, and try it out.
If Rhea plays it, we'll know that it nailed it.
I bet she does.
All right, Teklo Leveler. I think we finally got the spoiler for our weapon that we're going to see our Evo heroes running. I think this would even be the one that you would run if you were actually playing Blitz with the Professor as well. Like UPF is fantastic with the other gun, but Teklo Leveler is a attack 2 weapon. But if you have one or more Evos equipped, this gets once per turn action 3 attack. So that means it's kind of a dead weapon if you have no Evos. That's the downside. The upsides is it dramatically upgrades as you equip more Evos. At 2 Evos, it costs 2 less. So you're now at a 1 for 2. You're back on pistol stats. At 3 or more, you get Go Again. So now you're on pistol plus induction chamber. And then at 4 or more, you get +1. So now you're at pistol plus +1. And you're waving your hand because you don't get to shoot it twice, right? It's not a once per turn. But
it's a once per turn. It's not a pay this and attack like the pistol is. The pistol is very good for that reason. You can only attack with this once.
Well, the thing is like you also have to spend 2 resources to do that attack plus Go Again. Because a lot of times with dash, you always poke with the pistol first, right? Kind of see if they don't like their hand, they want to block the 2 damage. You're like, okay, that's going to decide how I approach the rest of this, because you don't want to boost too hard and mill you through your deck if they're literally just going to throw the entire hand at it. Yeah. So you might go pistol, throttle, arsenal, keep a blue in my hand or charge up stuff. But this allows you to do that. If you're mainly using your pistol in the aggro package as the open up with a shot and then rush in, that's like once you've got those Evo pieces equipped, this is kind of what you're going for, right? You want to start throwing these giant haymakers or no boost at all. You literally shoot the gun and then slap them with some giant attack that gets all the benefits from all those Evos.
Yeah.
Is this one of their signature weapons, or is this just a weapon that we
don't know yet?
I don't think it's been applied. This sounds like Teklo Bosun's weapon.
That's what I was wondering. The idea that he's supposed to get stronger, right? Starts really no armor, right?
He's Iron Man.
I'm building up my Iron Man, right? It's really nice that the weapon is so to that, right? I'm not that good. I'm just a mana dump, whatever resource dump. Oh, now I'm amazing.
I want to play Teklo Bosun real bad.
Right? No, it feels good. It feels the flavor and the idea of the card. It feels great. I mean, I think it's gonna be awesome.
He's our steampunk guardian.
It's true to its identity for the hero and getting better as the game goes on, which is the opposite of Flesh and Blood. So I think it is really interesting that they've thrown a hero that gets sort of stronger as the game goes on rather than weaker, which is really interesting.
Did you see the other promo? Oh, man, have you seen the other promo, Noah? That came with the heavy artillery. So
yes,
it comes in red, yellow, and blue. The one that they're probably all decent. They don't have the boost mechanic. They are simply just a haymaker. They cost 3. The red one's for 6, so you go down the line. Yellow one's for 5. Blue one's for 4. It is a block 3, and it has the Evo upgrade keyword. Defending hero can't defend this with attack action cards with cost less than X, where X is the number of Evos you have equipped. This basically says against most decks, if you're fully Evo'd out, this card cannot be blocked unless it's a non-attack action or attack.
Right. That's why we play Dory.
Cards from the UPF product that we're going to get to talk about next week.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we'll save that for next week. But those are some good things,
man.
Those new block cards.
You realize
CNC is done for.
Well, you realize heavy artillery with no Evos out still can't be blocked by 0 cost attacks, which is interesting.
Just action cards. I mean, like obviously most decks have some kind of actions that they'll be blocking with. It can be blocked by armor. It can be blocked by defense reactions. It's still definitely blockable.
I think you're peering this from a Dory perspective. a lot
You
of
run
decks are
actions card, or
really
you-
low on non-attack
Some-
actions.
Ninjas hate this thing.
Well, I
Yeah.
was gonna say,
Straight up.
Oh,
it's definitely
Ninjas.
very. It's definitely very anti-ninja, anti sort of like
Dude,
aggressive.
Ninja
right?
basically can't block this card ever. It's like you can block it with Surging Strike, and are you going to?
No, I'm not gonna block it with my Surging Strike. I need that. I need my Surging Strike. I want to turn.
Yeah, it's like
This card scares me.
yeah, you
You
can
got
only
Flick
block.
Flack.
Yeah, so you got Flick Flack, you've got
You got
Bonds of
reinforce the line
Ancestry,
if you
which
get
you
it
wouldn't
in
do it.
there.
Wait, no,
Bonds of Ancestry.
no,
is
you
attack
have to
action.
block with an
Y-
yeah.
You're talking ancestral empowerment. You could do that.
No, you wouldn't. You never get the value.
You'll do whatever you have to do to save your life. Let's be real.
Oh,
That
I
card's
mean,
not
if it's
coming across
if it's on
at
hit
the
kill.
beginning of the game, you gotta understand that is like a 1 over 2 of that gets pitched late game and comes out after I've evoed up.
If I'm-
There's no reason to use it early.
No, if I'm playing Ninja, this thing, if this is in my
Well-
hand, I'm playing it.
But I'm saying realistically, you're saving that for later. Like that is like a soul crusher late game. Bam.
Okay.
Yes, this card
Okay.
terrifies
No,
Here,
me.
D
here,
reacts,
no.
nothing.
Listen to this. If you're like, okay, I'm going to pay 1 to shoot the gun. I'm going to pay 2 to do it with red throttle, and then I'm going to pay my other blue to throw this at this ninja who can't block it at all. And I'm not even
I
going
know,
to wait
it's
for
totally
evos.
I mean, you're probably gonna run if it's that good, right? You're gonna run 3 of them. If you run 2 of them, maybe you pitch 1 for later.
It
If
might
you only run 1 of them, I think you
be-
should probably
it's-
wait until
It's like this
Whatever time-
is an underrated card against Guardian. Guardian's just always going to be able to block it.
Well, that's what Guardians do.
And like Dory can just block it. Who cares?
Yeah,
So-
that's why it's again,
Situational.
is it a battering bolt? Maybe I'm a little upset about it.
It's not like Terminator Tank, where if you actually get to play Terminator Tank and you have the 4 evos, that card slaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh man,
man, I might be playing mech. I'm telling you,
dude, it does look fun. It's a
I know I'll be Fi at the ProQuest.
a 9 for 3 that has overpower and
So
makes
you
you
can just
discard a card if it hits. Good.
Yeah.
Unless you let me borrow Katsu, then I'll play that, and you can play Vincent.
Nah, I'm gonna tweak my Katsu for the PQ. Gotta give it my best shot, right?
I can't decide.
so.
I've been really enjoying Levia. I've recently hit like the 50 game mark, and I'm at almost the 80% win rate with the current list I have. I'm going to make some tweaks and restart that count. But all these mech cards have me really excited. And Dash is my original love. Like
I'm gonna stay open. I'm excited about this. This is gonna be fun. I say that now, but
dude, that meme. No, you're gonna find a reason why Dory's so sick. You're gonna
oh no, you guys gotta go see that. We should. I'll post it on Twitter. It's hilarious. I definitely should do that. But
dude,
that
Dory players
I paused it and I just started laughing. That is exactly how it is. Me and John, this is exactly why I think Dory. This is her time.
So
I'm gonna be saying that for years.
Of course.
But you know what? Hold on. Let's be real here. When Lexi and Ice goes, it's gonna be her time. Like, I don't want to put people on it, but it's gonna be her time. And Bolden Blade is only the start. Just wait.
I'll believe it when I see it.
We're getting a whole warrior revamp eventually. I'm living in this world. Whole warrior revamp, tons of cards. They're gonna say, you know what? Get her out of here. Dawnblade's gonna just go. Just wait. They're gonna obviously give us some on-rate cards, and we're gonna terrorize the meta.
So
good luck with that.
We are recording
Warriors
this
with
on
on-rate cards.
We're recording this on September 21st on a Thursday.
Just remember that for when I'm right.
And it's currently at 10 in exactly 2 hours. The absolute pre-release spoiler gauntlet starts with Yukili Bender.
It's gonna be great.
We're literally getting like a spoiler every 30 minutes for until
I'll be up all night.
So
I'm not gonna be up all night. I will see you guys in the morning.
Yeah, like the spoiler schedule, like tomorrow they're spoiling 18 cards. On Saturday they're spoiling 21. On Sunday they're spoiling 22.
Ooh.
So
come on, how can you not get just so pumped for this?
Dude, the LSS.
I got kids, man. I got to get them up for school.
LSS really does good for content creators. Hopefully we can get in on that.
Yeah, maybe someday. I mean, we're still new. Maybe once we get up to episode 10 or so and we really feel like an established podcast, more than 10 subscribers kind of established podcast, then we'll start getting more attention.
You gotta climb, right? I love it. You just gotta climb. Just gotta keep grinding it.
Yeah. I feel like we're doing okay. I feel like we're doing a good job.
We got to put in our reps, right?
Yeah,
we're gonna have plenty of content with the Crack Shuffle play.
Oh yeah,
I think we should. There's a lot of great opportunities. I think there's a lot of misconceptions still that the game is still pretty pricey. So I think it would be cool to put some things out about how it's pretty. Build what would be considered a starting competitive deck when we get the new Tunic price. I'm telling you, there's going to be some good stuff that I would like to really delve into and offer. And I personally am just going to be picking up a ton of like wall cards, like your CNCs, your Art of Wars, your E-Strikes. I'm literally going to be hoarding them to try and help newer players break the barrier, because awesome. It's just they're easier to trade, and if you can just get them for decent value card to card, then you don't have to worry so much about, oh, I gotta scrape, I gotta get 80 for this. Just whatever, like let's just it'll be fun. Try and generate some interest.
As always, it is an exciting time in Flesh and Blood, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, this game's awesome.
Yeah, the event schedule is rigorous, to say the least. Well,
yep.
That is the end of episode 4. So, any closing remarks?
Nothing in particular from me, no.
Yeah.
I can't wait to buy a bunch of cases of bright lights, even though I said I wasn't going to buy a bunch of them.
I'm buying my one case.
Things have changed, and I have obligations. Though I will be expecting Dynasty as well, so I'll have to talk about that. But I gotta get my Dynasty.
Killing yourself on those Dynasty boxes.
One day it'll be in there. I'm 100% buying UPF product though. 100%.
Yep. Yeah, I'm picking that up.
I'm buying 4 around the table. I need all the cold foils. Did you see them? All the weapons, all cold foil, play sets of all the alternate art cards. Nope, I'm buying 4, keeping 1 sealed. I've already settled on it.
Okay.
That way,
that is the magic number.
That way we'll have plenty of playmats.
Sorry, Thomas. Go ahead.
We'll have plenty of playmats for everyone to play on.
And we can hand some 4. That's the magic number, and I got a bunch of Dynasty for you tomorrow, Donnie. It's all wrapped up, ready to go.
Thank you. I need the ball.
Anytime. I'm happy to get rid of it.
All right, Noah, where can everybody find you?
It should be listed below me. I think
we've got our tags right below us.
It's on the but you can find me on twitch.tv/LutsoHeavy. You can also find me on Twitter at LutsoHeavy. Big Max on there as well. That's my handle in Discord. Noah, Big Max, doesn't matter any which way you want to call me, but it's always a pleasure.
Check. As always, I am Draco Hominus 87 on just about every social media. You can look me up. My DMs are always open if you want to have a chit chat about Flesh and Blood, Parenthood, whatever. I'm down for a chat. I also write the FabDad series for fabrec.gg, and I have done tournament coverage for them on 2 different events. I will be doing all of the tier 3 events going forward. The next one is going to be Calling Dallas. Should be about the middle of next month.
You could find me pretty much everywhere as Wet the System, Twitch TV, and Discord, with the exception of Twitter, which is at System Wet. And then you can kind of find our collective selves at Sick Crew on Twitter. And if you see Sickcast anywhere, that's us. But most likely it's Donnie chiming in on tournaments. Anyway.
Yeah.
Road trip to Dallas?
Yeah. When is it? Buddy. I mean, if you're paying, I'll drive. When we come back next week, we'll be on the tail end of a completely spoiled Bright Lights. We'll know all the cards, I think, when we come back by next week, if maybe missing a few, because we'll just be a couple days away from the actual pre-release event. Anyway, thanks for joining, everybody. We hope you enjoyed catching up with us this week and with Flesh and Blood in general. Help us out with the algorithm. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, Make sure you click that little bell thing to know whenever we post.
Smash that follow.
Yeah, smash that follow. If you don't want to miss future casts, make sure you do that. Anyway, so until then, take care of yourself, and just remember, we're all siblings in cardboard. Just have fun, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Discard your cards.
Bye.